Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into something pretty fascinating, the future of autonomous economics. Specifically, we're looking at this explosion in AI-driven payments and a new protocol from Coinbase called x402.
Yeah, it's definitely catching a lot of attention.
So our mission today is really to unpack how this stablecoin payment system, which is, designed for AI agents, not humans primarily, how it's scaled so massively, like over 10,000% in just 1 month. And what does that actually mean for how the internet handles money going forward?
Right, and it's crucial because Buy 402 isn't just, another payment app. It's framed by some people, industry leaders, as trying to fix what they call the internet's first mistake.
Which was what exactly?
Basically designing the internet without a built-in way to pay for things, a native payment layer. So Coinbase launched Buy 402 back in May to tackle that, specifically letting AI agents handle their own transactions autonomously.
Without needing a person in the middle. Okay.
Yeah.
And that headline number, that 10,000%, that's just staggering. It really makes you sit up and ask, okay, what is this thing?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. By 402, it sounds a bit like sci-fi hardware or something.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, how does it get rid of the usual roadblocks, the credit cards, the login forms, the gateway fees that make automated web payments such a pain right now?
Well, the interesting thing is its elegance, really. It actually goes back into internet history. But Buy 402 is basically bringing back the hypertext transfer protocol 402,
Yeah.
HTTP 402.
Oh, right, like 404 not found.
Exactly.
Yeah.
404, maybe 500 server error, but 402 was always officially reserved in the stack for payment required. It never really got implemented widely.
Until now, apparently.
Until now, and the mechanics are key to its power. So when an AI, or it could be a person too, requests something online, like data or computing time, instead of having a paywall page, they get this HTTP 402 prompt directly from the server. And here's the core part. The client, the AI agent, sends back a signed stablecoin payment. The signed bit uses crypto to prove ownership of the funds and commits the payment instantly. Then, the Buy 402 protocol just automatically verifies that signature and the payment. Boom. You've got a payment system that's built right into the normal request-response cycle of the internet.
So it completely bypasses the traditional financial rails.
Completely. Banks, credit card networks, they're just not involved in that specific transaction loop. It's native.
It's a really neat technical solution to a problem that's been around for decades. And, well, the data certainly suggests it's working, right? I was looking at the Dune Analytics charts you sent over, and the speed of adoption is also kind of shocking. That 10,000% figure is the headline, sure, but digging in, between October 14th and 20th alone, almost 500,000 Buy 402 transactions were recorded.
Almost 500,000, yeah.
And that's a 10,780% jump compared to where things were just 4 weeks before that.
Yeah.
That's not gradual growth, that's vertical.
It really is. And the daily numbers show the momentum is still building. We saw one Friday hitting a record 239,505 transactions in just 24 hours.
Wow.
And the dollar value is climbing too. A recent Thursday set a record with $332,000 in transaction volume moving through this protocol in 1 day.
Okay, so it's not just tiny micropayments anymore. There's real value flowing.
Exactly. And this isn't happening in a vacuum, It's not just internal Coinbase metrics. This kind of growth points to a real market need. You see major players like the VC firm A16Z's crypto arm.
Right.
They specifically called out the rise of agentic AI in their big 2025 State of Crypto report. It feels like the infrastructure like Buy 402 is finally showing up to meet what AI is becoming capable of.
That's a really important connection. The numbers are huge, yes, but like you said, these aren't humans clicking buy. These are AIs paying other AIs or services. Which brings us neatly to the engine behind all this, agentic AI. Why is this ability for AI to act and pay autonomously becoming so critical right now?
Well, it really boils down to enabling true independence for the AI. Folks from the Coinbase team, Kevin LeFew and Lincoln Murr, they've talked about this. Agentic AIs are designed to operate without needing a human to constantly step in. Think about managing things like API calls, paying for data storage, accessing compute power. Historically, maybe an AI could figure out it needed something, but a human had to handle the billing, right? Pay the AWS bill, manage the subscription.
Yeah, the human was the financial gatekeeper.
Exactly. With Buy 402, the idea is the AI agents manage their own costs directly, autonomously. They're not just using services. They're becoming like independent economic actors with their own budgets.
And the examples they give start sounding pretty futuristic, but maybe they're closer than we think. Like Self-driving taxis.
Yeah, that's a classic one they mention. A self-driving taxi using stablecoins automatically to pay for its own charging or tolls or maybe even like a software update subscription. No human managing its expense account.
Or what about that idea of an app paying for its own permanent data storage?
Right. Imagine an application that needs to store data forever on, say, a decentralized network like Arweave. It could use stablecoins earned from its function to automatically pay its own storage fees, essentially funding its own existence indefinitely.
The service pays for itself. Wild.
But it's not all just theoretical. They point out that AI agents are already doing things like trading crypto, analyzing market data, executing buy-sell orders, optimizing portfolios, all in real time without a human trainer clicking the buttons. They earn, they spend.
Okay, so they're already acting as economic agents in some domains.
Precisely. And that's why these future projections are so enormous. This autonomy that Buy 402 enables is the foundation for predictions like, well, the one from A16s again.
Right.
They anticipate that the total value of these autonomous machine-to-machine transactions could hit something like $30 trillion by 2030.
30 trillion. That's bigger than the GDP of many major countries combined.
It's a staggering number. It represents a potential massive shift in economic activity, moving from human-controlled transactions to machine-driven ones.
Okay, if we're talking about supporting a $30 trillion machine economy, the underlying infrastructure needs to be incredibly robust, scalable, and, crucially, trustless, right? So why are stablecoins and blockchain technology the essential pieces here? Why can't these AI agents just, I don't know, use corporate credit cards or something?
Yeah, that's a fair question. Lefew and Murr laid out the specific needs for these AI agents pretty clearly. They don't just need fast payments, they need, and these are their terms, atomic payments, programmable policies, and composable wallets.
Okay, let's break those down a bit. Atomic payments, that means the transaction either fully completes or totally fails, nothing in between, right?
Correct. No partial failures, which is critical for automated systems, but the other two are just as important. Programmable policies means the rules of the payment, like when to pay, how much, under what conditions, aren't just in a legal doc somewhere, they're baked into the code, into a smart contract.
So the AI doesn't need to interpret legalese, it just executes code.
Exactly. And composable wallets means the AI can sort of chain financial actions together programmatically. Like if it earns 100 units of stablecoin for doing a task, 50 to pay for its next computation task, and hold the rest. All automated.
Okay. And traditional finance just doesn't offer that level of fine-grained, programmable control without massive overhead and intermediaries.
Not really, no. It's slow, relies on trusted third parties like banks, and involves a lot of manual or semi-manual processes. It's just not built for this kind of high-frequency autonomous machine interaction.
Which is why Ethereum comes into the picture.
Right. Ethereum's trustless settlement layer, with its smart contract capabilities, provides exactly those features. Atomic settlement, programmability, composability. It's sort of the natural fit for implementing something like HTTP 402 payments.
It also makes things like handling disputes or invoices potentially much more efficient, right? Less back and forth between intermediaries.
Definitely. Think about chargebacks with credit cards. That's a whole complex multi-day process involving banks. On a blockchain, because transactions are final pretty quickly.
Wait, how do you handle disputes if transactions are final? Isn't that a risk for the payer, the AI?
That's where the programmable part comes in again. Instead of a slow, human-mediated chargeback system, you can build dispute resolution right into the smart contract. For example, payment could be held in escrow automatically and only released when the service is confirmed, delivered via an oracle or some other mechanism. Or, if there's a failure, the contract could trigger an automatic refund based on pre-agreed rules. It's faster and potentially more transparent for an autonomous agent.
Okay, that makes sense. But one potential concern, Buy 402 came from Coinbase, which is, a big centralized company. Does that introduce a point of failure or control that undermines the whole trustless benefit? Or is the protocol itself genuinely open?
That's a really important point to clarify. While Coinbase definitely initiated and promoted Buy 402, the protocol itself is designed as an open standard. It's building on existing internet protocols, HTTP 402, and leveraging open infrastructure like stablecoins and, public blockchains like Ethereum. So the trust isn't really in Coinbase, it's in the underlying blockchain settlement layer. Any developer, any service can theoretically implement an by402 payment handler. Coinbase just sort of kickstarted it and built some early tooling.
Got it. So the standard itself is decentralized, even if a major player pushed it initially.
That seems to be the goal, yeah.
And we're seeing the market react like it's an open standard, right? It's not just Coinbase using this. You mentioned developers are launching their own by 402 tokens.
Yeah, that's the perhaps less predictable market ripple effect.
Yeah.
KuCoin Ventures pointed this out. Developers are using by402, or at least the idea of it, to launch new tokens, maybe fund projects. And inevitably, this has led to a sort of wave of by402-themed meme coins.
Huh, of course, wherever there's hype.
Right. But it shows the concept is catching on, even if some applications are more speculative than others.
In CoinGecko, the data aggregator, they now actually track by 402 tokens as a whole new category, a new ecosystem.
They do.
And that ecosystem, according to their data, basically exploded overnight into a market cap of nearly $180 million. That was after a 266% jump in just 24 hours recently.
Yeah, the market is clearly seeing that 10,000% transaction growth we talked about as a major signal. It's saying, okay, native internet payments for AI, this might actually be happening now.
So let's try to wrap this up. As we finish this deep dive, the core takeaway seems to be, well, this incredible by 402 growth isn't just a random spike. It's directly linked to the emergence of agentic AI needing its own way to pay online. And by cleverly resurrecting an old internet idea, HTTP 402, and combining it with stablecoins and Ethereum's trustless nature, we're finally getting a kind of programmable money layer baked into the web itself.
Exactly. I think the fundamental shift, the key difference for listeners to grasp, is moving away from an internet economy that relied on humans authorizing every step towards a true machine-to-machine economy. One where AI agents aren't just tools, but are becoming autonomous economic actors, functioning and paying for themselves.
Self-sufficient economic entities. It still sounds a bit like science fiction.
It does, but the data suggests it's starting to become science fact.
So here's maybe the final thought to leave everyone with. If we're already seeing examples, even early ones, like self-driving taxis potentially managing their own finances, or apps paying for their own data storage, what does that imply for human roles? Not just manufacturing jobs, but roles in administration, finance, logistics.
Yeah.
What gets completely redefined when AI agents become major economic players in that, potential $30 trillion autonomous transaction economy?
That is the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? What does work look like in a world increasingly driven by autonomous agents? Something to think about.